Yo, look at that fucking loser.
I don't know, man. He doesn't look too happy.
Yo, fuck's sake! Is that your sister's shirt or
Dude.
what?
You're such a dick.
What do you mean?
I'm gonna go talk to him. Hey, man. Don't look so excited. I'm sorry my friend's a dick. But we're having some people over tonight. How would you feel about coming over?
So what did that weird guy say?
I don't want to talk about it.
Fucking assholes, man.
Are we in?
We're in.
All right. What are you drinking? Like straight vodka? 11. Well, it's 12 o'clock somewhere. It's 12 here. What's
I've
like?
been drinking these Bang drinks.
Energy, Bang Bang.
I don't think they're good for you, but
No, they're not.
it's all right.
Yeah, you should know better, but
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Johnny Salami podcast. Today's guest, Coach Odell. Some might call you Mr. Odell, but I'll always call you Coach. First off, how's retirement going?
It was going good. I was retired. I retired in September, and then on my 59th birthday, I know I don't look 59, okay, but I feel it.
But you're 23.
20. Oh, there's a reason I passed him in school and coached him. But it was going good until the pandemic hit. And then everybody else is home. Everybody's out. It's like they all joined me in retirement.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't go anywhere. It's like I'm stuck in the house, and I take 2 walks a day. I've lost some weight.
How long are you walking, though?
I'm walking like probably like 5 or 6 miles a day.
Just around the neighborhood?
Going to the next plat across where people don't know who I am, and incognito.
Yeah.
My wife goes with me. But, yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing. And it's just I haven't seen my daughter in 9 weeks now, and she's pregnant. My oldest daughter, Bethany, is...
So you have 3 daughters?
I have 2 daughters and a son.
Okay.
Yep. And Bethany's 31, Ashley's 29, and Ryan just turned 27. So
one of your daughters, does she still work for Reebok?
she's changed companies. She now works for Puma. She's the head of marketing at Puma.
Oh, wow.
So she's working from home, and which is not a bad thing, being almost 8 months pregnant.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen her because of we can't go into Massachusetts. If we go into Massachusetts, we got to quarantine 14 days, which makes no difference. I'm at home anyway, so
Yeah.
We'll see what happens June 1st.
Yeah. So how did you know you were going to retire? Was it kind of like a feeling? Or?
Well, retirement's changed a lot. When I first signed up for this gig 30-something years ago, we knew that at a certain age, you probably retire in a certain amount of years. And then Gina, our esteemed governor, changed all the retirement. And I lost about 12% towards retirement, but I knew they did the second retirement thing that 59 years old and over 30 years of service that you could retire. So I went 32 and a half years and 32 and a quarter, 3/4 years, and when I turned 59, I retired. So it's different.
Yeah, that's crazy. 32 years. Like, how do you adapt to change like over that amount of time, like in the system?
Well, I think that's part of coaching and teaching, and in phys ed, I was a phys ed teacher, as you know, and a coach, and you stay in the game by adapting. And I'm not the same. I was not the same type of person I was when I first started coaching, where I learned a lot of different things along the way, and kids change. I shouldn't say kids change. I think
Parents change.
Yeah, I think parents changed, and I think the communication part of trying to reach that athlete or that kid a certain way has never changed. There's certain kids you can scream at, and there's other certain kids you can't scream at, and you have to talk to them. Well, you scream at them first, and then you talk to him and go, oh, you know what, everything's going to be okay. Or, it's just, it's an individual approach, I think, and
Yeah.
I think that's anything to motivate a person. When you work in a bank, I don't know if you have to work with other people or or you have a boss that
Mhm.
supposedly tries to get the best out of you. Well, how does he get the best out of you? And I think that's what my thing is: teaching, coaching, motivating. So I kind of missed that, to tell you the truth. Now it's like what's on Netflix and it's just different.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, so when you watch, like, The Last Dance, that must, like, because I watched that and I'm like, a lot of people are surprised. And it's like, I'm not really that surprised. You know what I
Not
mean?
me at all. And tell you the truth, I treated my kids. I had two girls that played basketball, and they were very good athletes. And I treated them like they were boys, which I didn't know any better because that's all I know. And I expected the most out of them. And I watched Michael Joe. I love that. I love that 10-part series, and I'm gonna feel tonight is gonna be. It's like a downer because I got nothing to watch. I look forward to that, and how he instilled certain things in his teammates and got the best out of him. I mean, yeah, he was. You know what? And you played football and you played baseball, and
Yeah.
there's certain kids that were on your team that motivated the rest of the kids, and or a coach or even yourself. It's a part of life, and it's a big part of coaching and being an athlete. And he was absolutely the best in my estimation. He was ruthless at times, no doubt, but
Yeah.
I've been accused of being a little ruthless of myself with my own kids. I was kind of a pussycat with you guys compared to my own kids. So
Yeah. But, like, kids like me knew that. You know what I mean?
yep,
Like, you have, like, the naive kids, but then you have kids who, like, like, I've seen, I mean, everyone who's succeeded in sports, I mean, they've had a mentor of some sorts that's just been extremely hard on them.
Yep.
And a dick, to be honest. But
at
it's
times,
like,
yeah,
it's not surprising to me. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
yep.
But,
My dad was that guy
Yeah.
for me, but he also, he was good at. I mean, he was definitely my father too, and he said, hey, you know what, he did this good too, but. Believe me, I knew what I did wrong. He was probably a lot worse than I was, and then, I figured it out halfway through the game with what I had to do with my own kids and kind of tone it down a little bit because I was tough on them.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It's not
Yeah.
easy sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I like I was watching that series and, like, it's just crazy how people were, like, surprised that, like, Jordan was a dick. You know what I mean? It's like it made me think, like, how can, like, I thought about all the coaches I've had, like, in, like, aggressive sports, like physical sports, and it's like, if Coach Skirka was nice, like, I don't think we would have been good. You know what I mean?
No,
like-
no, and you know what? You have to have a bad guy and a good guy. Like, you probably had an assistant coach on your team that would,
Yeah.
hey, John, you know what? He just wants you're ticked off at him because he's trying to get the best out of you. But then the assistant coach comes over and goes, hey, I used to do that with certain people I coach with too. Play
Yeah.
a little game, but I think of people that you play, like Joe Fine. I remember Joe Fine. He was that guy sometimes. He was tough and
It was a dick.
yeah, exactly. Hit more foul home runs than anybody ever knew. But he was intense, and
Yeah.
I had to, like, hold his jersey going through the line against Lincoln when he wanted to punch the kid from Lincoln. And I was, like, holding him the whole time. He wanted to. I said, "Nope, no, Joe, no, let's go, let's
Oh,
go."
really?
Yeah. He was pretty intense, but and you know.
Yeah, I used to play 1-on-1 with him in the streets. Yeah. I mean, we played sports together, but it was like, if we played 1-on-1, if I was ever winning, he would just, like, foul the shit out of me. Like, it wouldn't even
Right.
be fair. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, he was one of your best friends, though, right?
Oh yeah, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you guys can. It's like being brothers,
Yeah.
I have people that I grew up with the same way. We'd fight to the death, and then, we'd walk in with ice packs on, and we'd have a soda and sit down for a few. Wait for the ice cream truck to come by when we were kids.
Yeah.
So,
It just makes you think. You know what I mean? Because, like, when I was young, like, even when I was in high school, I would see, like, people your age, like, get mad, and they'd be like, "Oh, these fucking kids." And I would see that, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm never gonna be like that." But nowadays, I'm like, "Oh, these fucking kids." You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like,
you know what? I tell you what. The only time I ever got mad at kids is when they didn't try. They didn't. They just gave up, and they, you know, I would always tell kids, you know, and I taught seniors for a long time, and I said, you know what, you're not giving me your best, you know, and you're letting yourself down, and that's usually when you start reaching kids. I liked having the seniors because they were on the brink of going to college or somewhere, but they were grown up, and for the most part, and I remember seeing them as freshmen and sophomores, and they were like soup sandwiches, you know. They had no idea what it was all about. By the time they get to be seniors or a senior in high school playing a sport or something like that, there's a big difference between a sophomore and a senior. And you know.
I think sophomore is the hardest year. Sophomore is definitely because I was guilty of that, not trying all the time. I would always get yelled at by Skirk, and eventually just gave up on me.
Yep.
But I was scared to try. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because you're at that age where you're like, you know, if I try, am I gonna look like a hardo? You know, like I don't want to take this other guy's position. And like a lot of people say that, and they're not like, you know, they don't have the potential to actually even if they did try, you know, like they probably wouldn't take somebody's position. But with me, it was like if I actually tried, like, it would have been intense.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, I always told my kids, don't make it close. In other words, that person's out there to battle with you for a position. When they were freshmen and sophomores, I said, don't feel bad about that. Don't feel bad to succeed, you know. And you know what? Let the coach make the hard decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's not up to you. And believe me, my kids had some trouble during that. They, you know, you walk into a little league from a little league program at like Lincoln and going as a freshman, and you're starting in the outfield for Lincoln. And all these kids are seniors, and then you're playing over them.
Yeah,
there's a lot of problems. Or you walk into a huddle, you're the quarterback. You know, it's the same. It's not easy, but life is competition, and when you go out to get a job, they don't go, "Hell, you know, nice try." They just don't give you the job.
Yeah.
So you better be ready for competition in life, you know. And doesn't mean you have to be a jackass. I mean, and like, say, I'm gonna do this. I always tell people, you know, do your talking with the ball, the bat, shut your mouth and play, you know. And I didn't go for any of that crap. I you know that from me anyway, but.
I especially like back then, I don't know if I enjoyed getting yelled at, but now that I look back, I kind of wish I got yelled at more. Like I remember, like I think it was me and Cam Lazenberry. Like we were always like the two kids who Skirka used to yell at the most, and I think he just yelled at us because, like, I mean, I know he wanted the best of us, but he also knew like we were easy targets, you know, because Cam's Cam.
Yeah, I think he yelled at you because he saw the potential.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
No, I from a coach's standpoint, you see this big kid who can move a little bit, you know, for the size. You look as a coach, you're going, Jesus, if I can get this kid to play, you know, balls to the wall, he's going to be a good player.
Yeah, like if I can motivate this kid. And I remember there was like a huge turning point for me. I remember like I think it was a junior, and I was like, you know, like if I don't play this year, you know, it's pretty much over. You know what I mean? Like, and he wanted me to play center, and I never wanted to play center. I hated center. You know, like I don't want the quarterback touching my nuts. Like I don't want to.
Yeah, I can understand. My son was a quarterback, so I was like, how do you get around that?
Yeah.
Shotgun.
Yeah, I don't want some guy touching my nuts, like directing traffic. And so I remember one day Skirka was like, "Yeah, John, like I'm gonna put you at tackle," and I was like wicked excited. And then I remember just like fucking 3 plays up in a row. And it was like the same play, and I just couldn't understand it. And like, I was being wicked lazy too. Like I was just flipping kids' tits, like being stupid. And then I remember a coach literally, like absolutely roasted me. Like if we were in a roast battle, like they would have shut the lights off. Like they would have sent people home. Like he was like, "No, John, get the fuck out." And he like made fun of me, like mumbling and stuff. He was like, he was like making Helen Keller jokes, like the whole 9 yards. Absolutely roasted me. And he was like, "Go play fucking defense for the scout team. Get the fuck out of here." And I remember like that was literally I've never been so mad in my life. Like just like a switch turned.
Yep.
Next play, I'm going against Billy de Hertog.
Yep.
And like I thought I was possessed. Like I was actually trash talking the whole other like our starting offense. I was trash talking everyone, like yelling. And Billy made like the nicest block on me. Like I got Billy to go 100%, which is, you know, hard in itself too.
Yep.
Like the first play on scout defense, you know, Billy makes this nice block, turns me completely, and I just spin off him and like deck the running back. And I remember seeing like Skirka's face. He was just like mind blown, and like he was like talking to the other coaches. He's like, "Did you see that? Like why can't he do that every play?" And I was just like,
well, that's why you're getting yelled at.
yeah. So I was like, I mean, that was a huge turning point for me that I'll never forget.
Yep.
And I was like, he's kind of right. Like, I did deserve to get yelled at. Like, if he didn't do that,
Yep.
I'd still be, playing pancake titties with everyone else.
Well, you think about I can tell because and Skirk is younger than me by like probably 15 years. But the coaches that we had growing up, they weren't meek, and they were like, what you got yelled at was probably a fraction of what we got yelled at. 'Cause
Yeah.
it was like it was just unbelievable. Even all the assistant principals were football coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely was our football coach, and I had him for English. I mean, he took kids that didn't do their homework out into the hallway, and God knows what happened out there.
Really?
They come back to be all disheveled, and they come back in. I mean, it was just a different way of life,
Yeah.
But we definitely learned the hard way, and it's. I think it's better to go from the hard way to the easy way as opposed to going the easy way to the hard way.
Yeah.
I think kids today, and I'm not including you because I think you've been on a few years, but I'm thinking, and I know there's kids that you played with, and it's just everybody gets a trophy, and they named Gatorade Player of the Year for baseball. Of course, it's a Bishop Hendricken kid. They didn't play this year. There was no season for the spring baseball. They still gave Gatorade Player of the Year award
Wow.
in the state of Rhode Island. I looked at his stats as a junior. Nothing spectacular. I'm sure he could have been the best player this year. I don't know, but he didn't play. How many kids have great senior seasons? And sometimes they come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you just never know. I mean, I just was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I just don't give it to anybody then.
Yeah.
But
You think you'll always have do you have different obviously emotions towards different sports, or is it do you think over time baseball's kind of worn on you, or do you think you still have the same
I think baseball is my first love.
Yeah.
I played hockey and I played football, and I didn't play much football because my dad kept me out of football because I was really good at the other two sports, and hockey's a contact sport too. But it was the two sports he played, and my dad signed a minor league contract out of high school for baseball, but he was a hard ass, and I was always saying, Dad, why can't I play football? All my friends are playing. We used to play sandlot football. I was one of the better football players, and who knows, it might have been my best sport, but I never really got a chance to play. But baseball is a slow game, but you have to love it.
Yeah.
It's tough to watch on television sometimes. And I find myself now, even I'll watch a couple innings. That's like the World Series or something. It's the Red Sox. But I'll find myself flipping the channel. I like watching football sometimes more than that. And I like hockey. I like watching in person. Sometimes you lose where the puck is. And now with the HD TV, it's probably better. But
even I have trouble watching the puck. I mean, everything's so fast.
I kind of know where it is because I played. I anticipate where it is. And
Yeah.
I coached high school hockey for 7 years also. I don't know if you knew that, but I was a high school hockey coach before you were there.
Yeah, because I knew you were always about hockey, baseball, and I knew you still I know your son played football, so I always wondered which you liked the best. Sometimes I thought you liked hockey a little better, but it's kind of day and night with hockey and baseball.
Hockey's so fast, and it's just there's nothing like. I used to play Friday and Saturday night in high school, and when I played, we were in the top division for Cumberland. Kids didn't go to private schools like they do now. So, my high school hockey team when I was a junior was probably the third or fourth best team in the state, and legit. And Mount St. Charles was number one in the country. Cranston West was they were very good then. They were seventh in the country, and there was I think it was LaSalle was 11th or something, and we were 27th in the country. They had a top 50 high schools in the United States, but kids didn't go to private schools like they do now. We wouldn't lose the top 3 kids. We kept them all in our school. It was awesome time to grow up. It's The place used to be packed. And I know you probably went to hockey games when you were in high school, and they'd be like in the second division or whatever it was. It wasn't like they were in the top division playing against Mount LaSalle and Henrican. And I used to love playing against those teams. I beat LaSalle a couple times when I was in high school. I was like, my son did that too when he played in high school also. So it was kind of a big deal. We used to play him in baseball all the time. We were in top division. And that's the one thing. Baseball, we were always in the top division, playing against the best teams and all the best pitches, and we were good. We were a top-notch program. And even as a player, I was, and as a coach, you couldn't take that away from us. Where other sports sometimes you play in the second division. I think football was Division II, or I played, and my son went through that too. And it's just it's not a big state.
Yeah. But, you do have some serious talent, though. There's always like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I grew up 2 streets from the high school. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I used to skate on the pond right there at Tucker Field. And that football.
You skated on that?
Oh, yeah, when I was a kid. Yeah. All the time. I go
to the track a lot, and I always wonder that. I'm like, I wonder if anyone's ever, played pond hockey.
We used to skate in it all the time.
Yeah.
But then we didn't have, the cold winters anymore. We had more kind of mild winters, and it wouldn't freeze like it used to. Yeah, I used to play in that football. I used to get thrown off that football field all the time from the recreation director who would be out there kicking field goals or playing, on the field. And
I get kicked off all the time, all the time.
That does not surprise me.
But I always wanted to play hockey. I think hockey's awesome. I remember I tried playing when I was 5 or 6, and they used to have they had a rec league. When you're 5 or 6, it's kind of just like a skate around.
Learn to skate program.
But you're still on your own team. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, like a house league team. Yep.
And they had it at North Smithfield. I think North Smithfield has a pretty reputational.
Yep, that was actually the Lincoln program.
Oh really?
My son went through that when he was a little kid too. Yeah, pushing the little milk cart out there, and then you go up to the next level and stuff.
And I remember this vividly. So when you're 5 or 6, obviously you don't remember a lot, but I remember my dad was amped. He was amped to get me started with hockey. And I ended up playing basketball, but he brings me to the rink or whatever. And everyone else is using those, the push carts. Yep. And I'm the only one who can skate. And we didn't even know how. I don't know how I was doing. I think it was a natural, it was just natural for me. So I'm zooming around the rink, and people are yelling at me because I'm supposed to be with my team. And I used to sweat a lot, and my dad got me this sweatband to stop me from sweating. So I put the sweatband on, and then obviously my helmet. And as I'm skating full speed, my sweatband just goes right over my eyes. Yes, and I smash into the boards. And I'm so young, I've never been hit in my life. So I'm starstruck. I'm just laying on the ground, and my headband is over my eyes, so I can't see. So I get up, and people are still yelling at me, and now they're yelling at me more. So I just get up and I just start wailing my stick everywhere because I'm scared as shit. And after that, I never played hockey again.
Really?
That was it. I was I'm done. I can't do this.
Oh God.
I was crying and everything. But I was. They were how is it? They were how is this kid skating? Everyone else is using the push carts and stuff, but. I was Gretzky out there, man.
You should have kept going.
Yeah, I wish.
You should have kept going.
Yeah,
that's a great sport. I grew up with it because of my dad, and the same thing for my son. But it's kind of it's almost like a family culture because you got to be willing to get up early in the morning sometimes. To get on the ice at 7 in the morning, and
it's pricey too, right?
Oh yeah, it's big one. Yeah, it wasn't like that when I was a kid because everybody played, and there's a Bobby Orr generation. He built all the rinks in Massachusetts and the MDC rinks, and now I spent a small fortune on my kid playing hockey for all those years. Skates and ice time, but you know what? It was worth every second of it. And then it's over. Unless you're playing college, which he chose baseball as opposed to the other 2 sports. So. Which is nice, but it was cheaper. It's definitely cheaper.
Yeah, I remember going to CCRI pretty much because of you. I don't know what you said to Ken. I don't know if you handed him a few $100.
I did talk to. It's funny because, my son had a full ride to URI to play baseball, and stuff happens.
Yeah.
And he had redshirted a year, and he had an injury, and then he left because it was more of a, academic part too. So he went to CCRI to get himself back on track, which can happen to anybody, and You know, that's why I'm not a phony. I preach stuff because I've lived it. You know, my oldest daughter had a full ride of Holy Cross, and she had a great college career, and she's doing great. My second daughter had a scholarship to Southern Connecticut. She hated it, so she left a full ride, and came back and played at Rick with her friends, and had a great time. And they went to the NCAA championships a couple times, and then Ryan comes along, who's like the schoolboy athlete of the year and can play any sport, and he goes to URI. It doesn't work out. Goes to CCRI to get himself back up. And Ken Hopkins was the coach. And I remember Ken coming to me, and we're watching Ryan play his last year of Legion. He goes, I know I never will see him because he's going to go to URI, and then he's going to probably go on and get drafted and all this other stuff. Because I know I never will see him, but I would love to have him if I had him, you know. Here he is 2 years later. I'm calling him up on the phone.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, what can you do for me? My son needs to get back on back on track, and he went there the first year. The first year was a good year, and then the second year was like he was like the best player in New England. He won. He was like the first team all New England, and almost got drafted and stuff. But that program and those coaches and the kids that are on that team, I won't say they saved his life, but they changed his life. You know, and it got him back to really loving the game again, and being with the team. And, and a lot of it has, and then he ended up going to Rick after that for a year, and then he blew his arm out. But I think those things, and you talk about certain things that transpired in your life that made you what you are. I think that junior college thing for him was huge, and that's what kind of was trying to relate to you, that might be a great place for you to get it started again, you know, and you know, so
yeah. I mean, my reason was a little different, you know, but I remember going there, and they were like, he was pretty much like Buddha, like him and who was the other kid, like Joe Yankee or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, they just have like pictures of them like hanging up and stuff. You know, there's just like a shrine.
Yeah, Ryan, Joe, they had a great team. They had let me tell you, they had 7 Division I kids on that junior college team.
I think they definitely set a precedent for everyone else.
Yeah, yep. But, you know, in the same respect, I think like Coach Hopkins, and he retired from coaching. He's into politics now. He wants to be the mayor of Cranston, I guess now. He's but it's just, you just never know where things are going to take you sometime, you know. And it's not. I always told kids, and probably told you the same thing. It's not how you get there. It's as long as you get there. And you know, whether it's, you know, maybe banking isn't the end all for you, but maybe some part of might be higher than that. You know.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a step. Maybe this is where you want to be, or the comedian part. You know, I'm sure I've seen you play at the comedy connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, and done some shows in Boston. Now, you know Alan Morrow?
Yeah, Alan's my boy.
Yeah.
Hanging out with Alan after this. Shout out Alan Moreau.
Yeah, so Alan used to be like, he would come to Cumberland. He was a substitute teacher for a while, and then he would tell me he was doing all this comedy stuff. And I saw a couple of his bits, and you know, I was like, and he's from Lincoln, so he you know, and somebody said that you were doing it. I was like, John Psyche's doing it? I'm like, and you were always so quiet. Like in class, you were quiet. You couldn't get a heartbeat out of you sometimes in the back there. And then I'm like going, you know what? I bet she's killing it, because I always tell people that the quiet ones are the one you got to watch out for, because you don't know what they're thinking.
You never know, man.
So the people that talk all the time, I know what they're all about. But like a guy like you, it's tough to find out what makes you tick until something happens, you know?
Yeah.
So
I think comedy was definitely my savior. You know what I mean? I wish I started when I was in high school. Like,
I'll tell you what, and you know what? I think when you lost your dad, that kind of, you know, that sidetracked you for a while, which would have sidetracked anybody, you know. And
well, that was junior year. I mean, junior year was great though, so it was kind of like a roller coaster.
Yep.
Because we had just won the state championship.
Yep.
Just started baseball. I mean, junior year was probably my best baseball year.
Yep.
Because I didn't have any like distractions or anything like that.
Right.
And then it happened, and then like, I think that was honestly the reason like I ever even tried to play in like college. Like I remember going to URI and like not really doing much. Like I played rugby, but I mean I had legitimate tits. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was like
I
was falling apart.
Yep.
And
Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember you sending me a message. I remember you were
Yeah.
telling me, Coach, I don't know, I need to do something.
yeah, I was like, I was in my dorm room, and it happened instantly. Like, I was just like, I get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I'm just eating like a massive amounts of chicken nuggets. Like, barely went to practice for rugby. I was like, half the reason I even tried to play baseball again was just to lose weight and like
Yep.
actually be a part of something.
Yep.
I think maybe my dad played like a little bit of a role. Like, maybe there was like that emotional aspect where I was like, you know, it's like, what would he want you to do? But
Yep.
I think my dad like watching, I think, football more than, I think he liked baseball better. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
I think in terms of like watching it, like entertainment, he definitely like saw me as a football player.
Yep. Well, you look like a football player.
Yeah. Everything I played, it was just like, oh, there's John, like the football player
Yeah.
playing baseball
Yeah,
or
you
basketball.
look like a football player, though.
But yeah, I think that played kind of like a little role in it, and it did help me like health wise, and like Ken can motivate anyone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just like this old wise guy, like
Yep.
just the speeches he gives, like definitely helped.
You know what's funny? Him and I were rivals.
Oh yeah,
So he's older than me, but he was coaching Rhode Island College and I was coaching Bryant. So we didn't like each other.
yeah,
I was the young kid, coming on the scene where he was like established and but we used to go at it. I mean, like verbally during games
really?
and stuff like that. And then it's funny because for years I didn't like him that much because of some of the things that would transpire when I was a younger coach. But I was coaching in college at a very young age, which I can understand some resentment too. But when you beat them, it's even better, you know. So,
Yeah.
But then here's my kid playing for him later on, 10, 15 years later. So you just never know, you know.
yeah. That's crazy.
You just never know. And I give him I give him all the credit in the world for what he did for my kid, you know. And so, you know, some days you're stubborn, you know. You think, oh, this is the way I feel. But as you get older, you're gonna like now you're starting to realize some of the things you went through in high school and in college a little bit, and
Yeah,
and you get to my age, that's all you get. Especially with the pandemic, you got a lot of time to reflect.
yeah.
There's nowhere to go. So, you know.
I think I'm way more relaxed now than I was before. I think before I was obviously like, I'm still depressed, obviously, which is hilarious. But like, as far as like being more relaxed, like not a lot really like phases me too much, like in terms of like getting mad or anything like that. Definitely more relaxed, but it's because of all the the shit that happened in high school and stuff like that. You know, like nobody else went through the stuff I went through. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yep.
looking back, it's like
Well, I think too, you're getting to a point now. You're established. You know, you. I don't care. I was like substitute teaching. I didn't have a real job yet. That's like the worst. You know, you're getting paid like peanuts, and you're doing the same thing the other teachers are doing, or probably more because they're ragging on you because you're a substitute teacher,
yeah,
and you have no self-worth. You know, now you have a job. You know, now you have a career that you're working towards. I think it makes a big difference, you know. I think that gives you a little more relaxation, you know. I'm a little too relaxed right now, so it's like...
yeah, me too. Sometimes I just get too relaxed, but what are you going to do?
Well, you need something to challenge you, too, also. And I think that's my thing. I'm starting to play a lot more golf, and I'm challenging myself. I was a good golfer, and I had the shoulder surgeries, and now I'm getting back to... I'm trying to play... get back to the way I used to play, and then it's tough. At 59, it's like
So you can play with your shoulders?
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, it's just next day hurts, but I'd rather hurt than not play. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like
I've been getting like really into golf.
yeah.
You know,
Oh, really?
like back in the day, obviously it was kind of a joke. You know, just swing as
Yep.
hard as you can,
Yep.
yell
Yep.
something. You
Yep.
know, but now it's like I don't know. I'm just addicted to it. I play all the
Oh, yeah,
time.
it's good.
But
We'll have to play.
takes a lot of patience, honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of emotions too.
Yeah.
Like I played at Chimao the other day and I lost a bunch of balls, and it wasn't even like I hit a bad ball, perfectly straight, but the grass is so thick there. Just losing
I
it.
played
was like,
Chimau Wednesday with
Yeah.
my wife. I'm getting my wife into golf. We're playing in like a kind of like a league. It's like people my age playing in a league, and there's some women, some guys, and
what's your handicap?
I shot a 40 for 9.
Yeah.
So I'm like an 8
Yeah.
or 9.
I don't even know what handicap means. I just know that's what
yeah.
people ask.
Just don't park in the spot, right? So I'm probably for 18 holes. I'm legit probably 12 or 13, maybe around there right now for 18.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, which I used to be like single digit, maybe 6, 7, 8, something like that, depending on how much I played. But played good the other day. Then I played Crystal Lake yesterday, and
Oh, up in
I
Burrville.
ran out of gas. Yeah, I ran out
Yeah.
of gas the last 3 or 4 holes, and
It's weird when you go from like Kishimau's greens right now are wicked slow, but Crystal Lakes are just
yeah, they were fast.
Yeah.
Oof. And they were like it was like cement.
yeah, it
You know,
went so
and,
fast.
And it's a quirky golf course too. It's a lot of hidden shots and
Yeah, they were open during the whole quarantine, so that's
Yeah.
where I was just going.
yep.
But
That's good. I mean, at the worst thing, it's going to get you some exercise. You know, we had a walk, so like yesterday, we could take carts for the first time, which was saved me. The other day, I walked at Chamau, which is not a big deal. Get some exercise for 9 holes.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's definitely a thinking game.
yeah,
You know,
takes a lot of patience.
Yeah. I don't always have that kind of patience on the golf course. I'm a lot better now than I used to be when I used to snap clubs and stuff like that, you know. So, and knock them off trees and karate chop them, and I'm pretty good compared to that.
You actually used to do that?
I threw my driver up in the air one day, and I karate chop. I mean, I kicked it, and
Yeah.
I kicked the driver right in half. I mean, if I did it 100 times, I couldn't do it. One time, I snapped it right in half, and I'm sitting there going, it's like it's the most expensive club in your bag. I'm like,
Yeah,
so I had to order a new shaft, and they put it on. But I
Yeah.
was like, I after that, I learned my lesson. That was it. No more wrapping clubs around trees and
yeah.
hockey mentality. I used to always tell people, play baseball, but have hockey mentality. In
Yeah,
other words, it's like a slow aggression. You know, you got to have that fire. Like you're pitching, you got to have that fire, but it's got to be a controlled fire. It can't be. I remember. I can remember you pitching too. So when you were on, you had that curveball going, and you were throwing strikes. It was nice to watch.
Yeah.
But when you were struggling getting the ball over the plate, it was tough to get you back on to that track. You know, once you
Yeah.
are back on that track again, you're a good pitcher. But you know as well as I do. I pitched too when I was younger. If you're not throwing strikes, you're like, what the hell? Everything's going high. It's all
Yeah.
over the place. You know, it's like, what do I need to do to get back on track?
yeah,
And that's a lot in golf. Golf is like, wow, you hook one to the left, and you're like, all right, so what do I need to hit the ball straight? I need to open up my club face a little bit and make an adjustment. And that's life. That's it. So some people just get mad until their club's down and they give up and whatever. But the
Yeah.
guys that you have to find a way, you know.
yeah. There's a golf course near Crystal Lake, Country
Country
View. Yeah, I went there. And I remember I sliced the ball next to, there's like a rock formation that like splits, 2 holes in half. So I hit it over by the rock formation, and the ball was like right next to a rock, and I was like, oh, like I can hit this. And there's this like older rich guy watching me, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna show him up. And I swing, try to hit the golf ball, and I literally just snap my club in half. I just hit a rock, snap it in half. And this guy's watching me like extremely confused, like he has no idea what's going on. And then instead of like walking around the rock formation, I try to hop over the rock formation, and I just fall on my face. And this guy's still watching me, and like I don't do drugs, like I don't drink, I don't smoke, so he must have been so confused. But like I remember that in high school. I remember like they wrote an article. My mom was laughing her ass off because it was like, because I remember I just threw I think it was like a 1 or 2. It was definitely like a 2 or 3 hitter against LaSalle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that game we won?
Yep.
Nobody thought we were gonna win, and like.
Yep.
Who knows what happened? Like, who knows what's going on
Yep,
in my
I
mind?
remember.
And they wrote an article about it, and they were like, when he's on, but when he's off, it's over. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Well, that's a lot. A lot of guys can't, even when they're on, they're not good.
yeah,
So that's the thing that when we get back to it's like a coach yelling at you, sees the potential.
yeah,
That's the worst thing for a coach to say is, I did not get the most out of that kid.
mm-hmm.
I don't care who it is. And you know, I would take that personally. I did not reach that kid, so I didn't do my job.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's most of the kids, and I'm sure there's a couple of kids through the years that I felt that way about, but I took it personally when I did not make somebody better, whether even as off the field or even on the field, and that's what coaching's all about. And you look at these guys that are big time coaches, like in college football, and the better coaches, those guys that play for them for years, they come back like 10, 15 years. Those coaches made them a better person, and that's kind of what it's all about, I think, from a coaching, teaching standpoint,
Yeah.
If you don't reach anybody, what's the sense? Just going through the motions,
Yeah, I mean, I think especially our senior year, like when you and Murph were coaching, like I think we did better than we were expected to do.
Yep.
Making the Final Four, like
I
that
know.
was
No, you're right.
definitely happy with the way we went out.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the way I always thought about things. Did we do the best? You can always go a little farther sometimes, you think, but, at the end you reflect and you go, you know what? We got a lot out of what we had. And, I've had teams, 2003, I had a team, when they were juniors, they were a Final Four team. Mm-hmm. So I was expecting we're going to win the state championship. We ended up getting beat by Henrican in the state finals at McCoy Stadium, but I had 3 All-Staters. I had Tapley, Mike Simeo, and Dan Milano were my 3 All-Staters that were really good on that team. But like Jared Tapley was my best pitcher, and he got tonsillitis in the state finals.
Yeah.
So he pitched 4 innings of scoreless baseball, and then he couldn't swallow. I had to take him off the mound. It's just stuff that happens. But, Henrican was loaded that year. They had 6 kids on their team that got drafted at one point.
Oh, really?
In college, or, Rainville was the big name pitcher on that team. But,
yeah.
You need a little luck too. But at the end of the year, I'm like, you know what? That was probably the best team that I was the head coach of in high school. That probably would have won any other year, but
Mm-hmm.
they were just absolutely loaded. I mean, I can name the other 6 guys, and 3 of them played in the major leagues. It just was amazing. But you need a little luck too, you know. I remember you pitching at Barrington.
Yeah, that was
Remember
my
that?
last game pitching.
Yep, pitching at Barrington, and each inning, I'd go out. So John, you got another inning? Well, coach, yeah, I'm all right. I think you threw 2 pitches in the might have been the top of maybe the 6th or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't make it through the 6th.
No, it was. But we were like, you kept doing the job, and then finally you couldn't go any further. It was like, I remember you came out and you like, that was exact right time to take me out, because it was like you hit the wall, and it was like you pitched a great. I think it was 6 innings, almost 6 innings or whatever.
Yeah, probably like 6 1/4 maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 6 innings, but it was like 2 pitches. I go, Murph, get him out.
Yeah,
It's like,
really high.
yeah, I think he hit the backstop or something. It was like
my arm was falling off.
yes,
so.
I know, but you gave us like, I think we brought Wright in, Chris Wright, a young guy.
Yeah, we brought Chris in.
Yeah, yep. But
He's coming on Monday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, he's in the MLB now, so it's like
I know, he was young.
good
then.
decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I picked the right guy. But no, it's just you got to know your players too.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I think I gave up like 2 or 3 hits that game.
Oh,
But,
it was a great game. You pitched great.
And then when I went to URI, there was like 2 or 3 guys who played for that team that lived in my building, and they knew exactly who I was.
Yep.
One of the kids, I went to a party once, and he was the last kid I struck out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how he remembered me. I was
Yeah.
like, good, nice.
Well, you know what? That's one of the things that sports is like great about. You know, you have like the memories, and you have, different things, and that you
Definitely happy
remember.
it was my last game.
That's crazy.
So there were some games where it was like, it was just, it was
Yep.
terrible. It was either there was never like a medium game.
Like I said, you need to pitch 6, 7 great innings, or 1 or 2/3 of an inning because you just couldn't get the ball over the plate, or
No,
you're
I mean,
bouncing a curveball.
Yeah, a lot of that was like, when I grew up, I remember like, I never really had the yips. I never had a problem with throwing strikes. Sometimes I threw too many strikes. You know what I mean? That's how I gave up hits. It was honestly just like the science behind it. Like, I just got myself involved with the wrong pitching coaches in terms of like mechanics and stuff.
Yep.
Just people who aren't accredited.
Yep.
And it just threw me off, like way off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I guess it works for some people. You know what I mean? But I mean, when you talk to if I talk to Rainville right now, he's not going to bring up any scientific information. He's just going to be like, he's just going to tell me the basics. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So that really threw me off. I remember, especially towards the beginning of the year.
Yep.
But like junior year, I mean, I never really had the yips. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was just because I was like, I was relaxed. I was just dancing up there. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Well, I think the grass is always greener. Sometimes, it's people have. And I've done it. I've done hitting lessons for years and stuff like that. And I felt guilty taking money from people. I'm like, but some of the clowns that were out there, ridiculous. I can't believe they're taking your money. It's just they were just. There was certain people I knew that were good. Like when my kid was growing up, and when he got sick of me, I would bring him to like John Mello down the Baseball Institute because I trusted him. And he taught the same stuff that I taught. It was just coming from a different person. Instead of me yelling at my kid, I had somebody else yell at my kid, which was great, so I could survive my own household.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that certain people were really good, you know. And Murph was a hell of a pitcher. I mean, Murph was an all-state pitcher. So, for him to help you, whatever, is you're probably going to get more from him than you're going to get from somebody outside sometimes, and
yeah.
And I had, believe me, I had a high school coach that wasn't that good, and I didn't realize that he wasn't good until I went to college.
Yeah.
Because he really didn't teach me anything. But I had my dad who played in the minor leagues, so I was fortunate there. I really didn't need that much. But when I went to college, I learned so much about the game that I thought I already knew, and I didn't. And then I learned something else when I coached with another guy when I was an assistant coach at Bryant, and I thought I knew it all. Not even close. You never know it all.
Yeah.
At 59 years old, I still don't know it all. I still watch games. I watch people take leads in the game. I watch different batting stances, and I watch different things. I watch the good people play. You watch a good golfer. So what's Tiger Woods doing? What's this guy doing? Some people aren't always the most, they could be herky-jerky being a pitcher. You don't necessarily have the 100% perfect form. But when you get the ball from here to there, you're in the right spot, and that's kind of what we're talking about with you a little bit because we weren't in the right spot sometimes. And then when you were, wow, that curveball dropped right off there, and everything came together.
Yeah, it's kind of like if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I used to tell people if you could stand on your head and hit, I'm never gonna say a word to you.
Yeah.
But once you have problems, I'll fix you. I'll fix you. I mean. We'll go back to step one, and there was times through the years that people were stubborn. They didn't want to listen, so and they struggled, So
I think a lot of it for me was just like overthinking. You know what I mean? I feel like I say this a lot, but it's like anything I succeed at, it's almost like I'm in a coma pretty much. Like if I'm doing comedy, I'm not really thinking about what I'm saying. I'm just kind of being myself.
Yep.
Same thing with like sports. I mean, football's not really that way. Football, you kind of have to think a little bit, a little more aggression, but.
Well, especially you got to know what the play is, and you got to know what you're trying to accomplish on that play.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like if you're on the mound and you're pitching well, it's almost like the mitt just gets larger, and it's like you're just pretty much in a coma.
Yep. No, I pitched. I know. I know days when I had it, and I know days when somebody's going to get hurt out there. You better get some catcher's equipment out there at shortstop.
Yeah.
So
many mixed memories,
Yeah, well, I used to always, I have a lot of different things that as you get older, you think about a lot of different things, but I judge people by when they're down. So in other words, when you're having a tough day, how do you react? Do you just give up, or do you come back the next time and, you make your adjustments and you come out and you become a better player? I judge people then, because when people are going good, they're the life of the party, and they treat everybody well. But when their things aren't going so well, how do you act?
Yeah.
And I used to always tell people that, and do you have the stuff inside of you to make yourself, get to here again, or are you just going to keep going this way?
Yeah.
So, and Really, you look at people in your life, and you look at the people you work with, and when things don't go their way, well, they're a
Yeah.
whole different person.
Yeah, kind of just blame it on other people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I got a lot of stuff that I've been kicking around, John. So you've done me a favor here with the podcast.
Yeah, it kind of hit me like just before. I was like, I haven't seen Coach Odell in literally 6 or 7 years.
So how old are you now?
24. I just turned 24.
Jesus Christ.
So it's been a while. It's not like I'm like in college or anything like that.
No, and I love to see people that I coach that are like your age or a little older. I mean, I've coached people that are 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Because I was at Bryant, I was assistant coach. I was 23 years old. So seniors were 21 or 22. They were a year younger than me when I was coaching them.
Yeah.
That's like crazy.
crazy.
That's just. And then I have guys like your age, and I've coached little league kids, and I've coached a lot of different levels. But it's nice to talk to somebody that's been through certain things, and then you're pretty established in what you're doing now, and then who knows what's going to happen with the comedy, how high you go with that too.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get me some tickets someday.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with some tickets if I make it. If not,
looking forward to that. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. Like, a lot of older people have seen like the videos and stuff, and I don't think about it too much. So, you either get like a really concerned look or like, hey man, keep doing what you're doing.
A couple of them popped up on Instagram. Like you're just sitting there and you're not doing much. I'm just like, and of course I'm just sitting there. My wife's like sitting in the other chair. And I'm looking and going. She goes, "What are you laughing at?" I go, he's just doing crazy things,
Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. I liked it that way. Like, especially in high school. Like, I remember like even when the first time I tried comedy, I was 19. So I
What
think
made
it was
you do
like,
it? What made you do it?
I don't even know. Everyone has like this like emotional answer when like people ask them that. They're like, oh, like how'd you get into comedy? And they're like, oh, like I saw so and so, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. But like I remember me, I was just making people laugh in general. Like I was always really silly, and I was like, this really isn't gonna correlate to anything else. And
See, I never saw that part of you when you were in high school because you were very quiet and serious. But I remember talking to Joe Fine and go, he's like the funniest guy in the world. He goes, I go, him?
Yeah.
I never seen him say 1 and 3 words in one sentence. And a lot of it was, because your dad was around that time too, when I.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was that, but I was always like that regardless.
Yeah.
I was actually more like when I was younger, I was the quietest kid ever.
Yeah, I mean,
but like when no one.
Nobody would know you were smart.
Yeah.
Because you were a smart kid in school too.
Average.
But nobody would know that because you didn't present that,
Yeah.
But then I'd read your stuff. I'm like, Jesus, this is good, So
Yeah, surprisingly.
No, well, yeah, a little bit because I had no idea,
It's just like, I mean, I've always been that way, and I think I always will be that way. I mean, I see people that just talk too much, you know what I mean? And it just, that's never going to be me. But, yeah, I remember being in high school and, like, people, they'd make, like, Helen Keller jokes or whatever, A lot of teachers would make those jokes. But, like, the funny thing is, like, after you make that joke, like, I'm going to look over to, like, a Joe Fine or something and just talk shit about you. You know what I mean? So, it's,
I remember Joe Fine being in my health class. And I think it was, he had to do controversial topics. He had to get up there and do an oral report. And Joe did his on cheerleaders are not athletes.
oh,
And there was this little girl, and she was a cheerleader or something.
yeah.
Cheerleading wasn't a sport or something like that. And Joe gets up, and he's got, Joe, he's got everything covered, every base. You can't do this, you do that. You're only there for one reason. And the girl, this 5-foot cheerleader, it's like right in his face, yelling back at him. I'm like, oh my God. I said, Joe. He's like, no, she's wrong. She's wrong. Oh, I was like, I never forget that. And the girl was not backing down. It was funny.
That'll sum up Joe Fine for you.
Oh God.
Yeah, there was one time I almost got caught. We were in like double sessions for football, and me and Joe and like Chris Hayes, we were like laying down on the mats. And we're just relaxing, like we had just finished our first session, and I didn't even know Murphy was like walking in the gym, but he was like walking in the gym, walking by us, and I'm facing the other way, and we're all laying down, and I just let one rip like wicked loud, and you just see Murphy like laughing his ass off, and Joe was like, "Dude, Murphy's like right there," and I was like, "You want some, you lose some." So
I remember telling other people, they go, "Hey, you know, John Psyche's doing comedy now." John Psyche? I go, that guy, quiet.
Yeah.
He's pretty quiet. And I said, yeah, and he's pretty good. I saw him, and like the same thing you're talking about, like, you know, Mark Premiano's like not knowing it. Well, me coaching you, not really knowing that part of you either. You know, so I think you got that in your favor. You know,
I like it.
you know, people that do all this, they don't hear anybody else in the room. They don't learn anything. They just think what they think, and everybody's supposed to think your gospel, you know. But you sit there and you go, that guy's a jackass. That guy's a jackass. I like what she said, you know, but you don't get to that point unless you listen, you know. And
Yeah.
people don't understand that sometimes.
Yeah. I made people laugh.
Yep.
And afterwards, like one of the bookers was like, "Yeah, man, like when you coming back?" And I was like, "I'm not." Like, I was like, "I'm not."
I'm not doing this.
Yeah, I was like, I just wanted to try it out, man.
Yeah.
And he was like going mad. He's like, "What, are you fucking stupid, man? Like, just come back." And I'm like, "Nah, man." And then I went to play baseball. And then when that didn't work out, I just came back and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's good. Sometimes you got to take a shot, you know.
Yeah, I mean, people don't realize, like, you know, you can see the videos and stuff of, like, you know, me succeeding, but if you saw me at, like, an open mic, you'd be like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's hard.
you know what? I've been getting up in front of kids and students, and the first few years of, I think when the toughest thing I ever had to do was when I went from I taught elementary school for 15 years, like phys ed in elementary. So I went to the high school, and because I was still coaching the baseball team, I was getting in trouble going from elementary up to the high school practices. So I changed up to the high school. I had to teach health my first year at the high school. So all these little elementary kids that I had like in the first, second, third grade, they're now freshmen in high school.
Yeah.
I got to teach them sex ed.
Really?
Yeah. So freshman, I have freshman health, and I got this kid I had like in the first grade. This little girl is now a freshman, and she's in the front row, and I'm teaching her about, you know, sex stuff, and she's looking at me like the word. I was just like mortified. I was like, I can't do this. This is horrible, you know. And after time passed a little bit, I got a little. It was okay, but it was like, oh, that initial couple of times, it was I was just so embarrassed, you know.
Yeah, that must be rough.
It was rough. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, pee-pee vagina, man. That must have been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and you start saying those type words, and then the girl's eyes would get like big, and you're just like, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
No, just go home and ask your mom, okay? Don't worry about it, you know.
Yeah. The toughest part for health class, in my opinion, is watching like the Lifetime movies. Those will fuck you up, man.
Yeah, you saw a few of those.
Yeah. Those will fuck you up. Like the dating violence ones and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Those are emotional.
But you know, like when I was teaching elementary, I was like a god.
Yeah.
I'm taking like all these kids out of a regular classroom who've been cooped up there all day.
Yeah.
You know, learning about whatever, you know, and I was like the Pied Piper. I'd lead them out the door. Whenever we make a move and stuff like that, it was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd bring them back. The teachers I didn't like that I brought them back, I wouldn't calm them down. I would say, just go ahead. Here you go, back in the room. You know, the teachers I liked, I would, you know, take the kids for a drink. You know, all right, guys, we got to calm down now.
Yeah,
Mrs. So and so is, you know, she got, and the teachers love that. And there's a couple of teachers that they kind of tick me off, so I would bring them back, and let's just say, not in a great manner.
Yeah.
I kind of just bring them in the room, and they'd be sweating all over the place. And
I can't even imagine.
yeah,
It's crazy.
Yep. The
But
good
hey.
old days.
Yeah, the good old days, man.
It goes by so fast.
Yeah.
I just feel so bad for kids. Imagine if you lost your senior year playing, like, you know, sports and
Yeah.
just being around your friends. And I can't. I'm just, you know, my kids had a normal time, and you know, even losing like your senior year of college, if you were playing ball or something like that too. It just, it's just
Can't even imagine.
it's crazy, and the kids are graduating virtually. Coleman High School is like they have like a graduation for like 15 kids a day, and they do something at the school, and it's just I don't know. I get a lot of mixed feelings about it. I feel bad for those kids because I've taught seniors for for a long time. I feel bad for kids that lost that 1 year of even if it's your junior year. That's a lot to lose. If you're a kid that was being recruited for something too, you're losing that time also.
Yeah, they'll probably give him an extra year for that, but high school is probably the
High
roughest.
school you can't redshirt.
Yeah.
You just lose it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Like my best year playing hockey was my junior year. We had a great team. We had like 10 seniors, and I was a junior playing on that team, and
Yeah.
big part of the team as a junior. And if they would have taken that year away, that would have been my best year ever playing hockey. My senior year was it was me and a couple of kids. There was younger players behind me at that point, So, but if I would have lost that 1 year, that would have been real difficult. I so enjoyed that year, and there's certain years that you enjoyed, and they took that away from you, like you made a football year, you won the state championship or something,
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
It's just
It's just a time where, like, usually you want time to go by slow, but right now you kind of just want time to
Yep.
go by fast.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I heard they're opening things up like June 1st. I need a haircut, man.
My wife cut my hair. I don't have too much hair to cut, but my wife cut my. I had the Bozo the Clown look going. I had the hair coming out the sides, and she got the shears out and stuff, and started.
Yeah, my mom wants to cut mine. I'm like, no, there's no way. I don't trust you. I'd rather go to Supercuts.
That's right. That's where I usually go.
Supercuts is scary in itself,
Yeah.
But,
There's one guy over there that does my hair, though. Is good, though.
Yeah?
I mean, it's not much hair to do, John, so it's not a big deal.
yeah, I got a bunch of hair, but
Yeah.
it's either hit or miss. They'll either shave my head off completely or.
I've seen you with really short hair. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. That's Supercuts for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they get aggressive, man. Like, there's blood flying.
Oh, my God.
I used to go to this one lady, and she'd be like, I'd tell her what I want, and she'd be like, nah, I got you. And I'm like, do you not hear what I just said? Like, they'll always change their mind. I'm like, just do what I say,
I don't know what's going to happen with that because that's like one-on-one contact, and
Yeah.
whether you do it outside or you do it in, it's just my wife is getting hair dye sent to her from her hairdresser because she can't do her hair, It's like she's doing her own hair at this point. Her hair's like long, you know, which is all right for a girl, but still. My oldest daughter's pregnant, so she's like had the hair thing sent to her. She's crazy.
Yeah, who knows, man? It's complete chaos.
Yep.
Look, I mean, it was great to catch up with you. I'm happy you came on. I thought you were going to say no. I remember sending the message. I was like, he might say no. Like, he might have heard some things,
No way. You know what? And I enjoy talking to, like, people that played. I coached, and I have a lot of. As you get older, and especially me, I haven't coached the last 2 seasons. It gives you a different perspective on things, and you appreciate the years you did coach and teach, and the people you dealt with, and good and bad. I mean, I could tell you stories for hours about, putting kids in AA and putting kids in drug rehab, preventing kids from committing suicide. I can tell you all those bad things, and I can tell you about, the letter I got like 5 years ago, a kid I saved when he was in high school because we found a letter that he was going to commit suicide, and, he's doing well now. He could have been dead. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, we all know. I mean, you're a legend. I mean, in the baseball community, you're a legend. I mean, I remember some people coming to the bank, and, like, I saw this older dude wearing, like, a CCRI hat, and he said I think he coached lacrosse when you coached baseball at Bryant.
Yep.
Really old guy, but he was there. And I think your name kind of coincides with Ken Hopkins' name,
Yep.
Legends and...
Yeah, legends never own mine, John.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not over. I'm going to see you again. I'm sure we'll hit the links.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of people are going to watch this. Usually we have kids my age on here, just talking about, like, immature stuff. So it's nice to have someone who's, like, wise and,
Well, you guys kept me young because it was fun to each day was a new day, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just
Now, I know a lot of people that are going to watch, but I mean, you know, it's not over, bro. You know, we can hit the links together.
yeah, absolutely,
All right.
absolutely appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
No problem.